Nansin, weito Nansin, weito Nansin, to Nansin, weito Nansin. With the permission of the Creator, the Lenape ancestors of these lands, and with the permission of your hearts, it is an honor to address you today, my dear relatives. First and foremost, I want to give thanks to the spirit world, to Father Sun, to Mother Earth, gratitude to the plants and animals, the sacred waters, the sacred places who gave humanity the sacred knowledge and understanding that made it possible for us to coexist in balance with creation for thousands of years. I bow to you and your ancestors because we all descend from these good people who walked on Mother Earth in a good way. And I'm calling on them today for guidance. Why? Because our Mother Earth is hurting and she needs our help. Worldwide, our waters and sacred places are being desecrated. Corporate greed and war are pushing life to the verge of extinction. Global governments and politics are void of spirituality, of morality, and basic respect for life. My generation's hearts are breaking as we survive the impacts of climate disaster that could have been prevented. Breaking as we watch genocide of our Palestinian relatives live on our phones, despite the global call for a ceasefire. The Pact for the Future mentions words like sustainable development nearly 300 times, yet words like children, earth, and future generations are mentioned less than 60 times. This is green colonialism, and it needs to stop. Only one mention of local communities, 0 mentions of plants and animals, 0 mentions of frontline communities, and 0 mentions of indigenous rights. So I ask you today, do indigenous people still not exist to you? Are we not the stewards of 80% of the world's biodiversity? My relatives, I guarantee you that the continued exclusion of indigenous people, local and frontline communities, will inevitably lead to more destruction, pain, and suffering. Yet there is hope, because we are still here, and the world needs the leadership of indigenous people and of youth now more than ever. Collectively, we have the ancestral technologies, indigenous knowledges, and spiritualities to create real intergenerational solutions. Our cosmologies have the wisdom and power to guide humanity towards that good path again. But in order to do that, indigenous people must have equal representations as member states in all UN bodies. So I say to you today, global leaders, go home and ratify the United Nations declarations on the rights of indigenous people. Acknowledge and apologize and build authentic relationships with your indigenous people. Begin to meaningfully engage your youth. Go home and cut your military budgets and allocate those funds for climate solutions, to pay reparations, to pay for losses and damages we've experienced as a generation that is inheriting a devastated Mother Earth. Go home and ask your indigenous youth, respected elders, how much money we need to bring our solutions to life. And then go home and create the unrestricted funds to support indigenous people in implementing the sustainable development goals on our terms. Global leaders, go home and give indigenous people our land back. To my indigenous youth and children of the world, we are so desperately needed at this time. We must join forces with our respected elders and keep fighting for a livable future. Our generation's biggest responsibility in these times is to not give up and not give in to hopelessness. We must stand to protect the sacred. We must stand to protect our sacred fires, our ceremonies, our songs, our prayers. We must speak our language, wear our traditional clothes, and be proud of who we are. Make no mistake that we have the medicine that this world needs, and that with the help of creation, we will turn the tide for good for the next 7 generations of all life forms to come. Tlazo Kamati, O Meteo.
I thank Ms. Garcia. I now give the floor to Ms. Monica Malit from South Sudan.
Esteemed